Good morning, Fearless fam, and welcome back to Travel Talk Tuesday. This week's question is, what are your favorite destinations? There are two cities that come to mind when I think of my top 2 favorite places I've ever been. And I do want to throw in just a quick disclaimer, and that is, it's really hard to choose favorites. I'm probably gonna change my mind next week, next month, next year. My answers will probably all be completely different. But as of right now, at this point in my life, when I think about my top 2 favorite cities I've been to, it was pretty easy to make a decision. Number 1, you've heard this a bajillion times, Koh Lanta, Thailand. So Koh Lanta is an island, and naturally it has this secluded vibe to it. When you fly into Bangkok or Chiang Mai, you definitely have that like bigger city vibe. I know Chiang Mai is not huge, but it's still like there's lots of resources and things there, as far as like there's a lot of chain stores and Western influence. There's 7-Eleven on like every other street corner, and Koh Lanta was a lot different. So when we came into Koh Lanta, definitely the first thing I noticed was that it's more rural than anywhere else in Thailand I had ever been. There was like one main road that goes around the whole island. It actually doesn't connect to itself though, so it's like one main road that hits the national park at the very bottom, and then there's another road that kind of dissects the island. So there's basically 2 major roads in the whole thing, and it's pretty safe to assume that all the other roads besides that are going to be either really small paved side streets or dirt roads. And basically everywhere you look, obviously because it's an island, there are incredible beaches. The best way to get around Koh Lanta is on a moped or scooter or moto or whatever you want to call it. They're super cheap to rent there, and there's really like not a ton of places to go. I mean, it's an island, so you can see all the like major tourist sites pretty quickly when you're there, which is really cool. And you use the moped to get in between places. And when you're going in between, like for instance, the western side of the island, which is a lot of like resorts and really gorgeous beaches, and then you're heading to the old town, which I believe is on the eastern side of the island. When you go in between those two, there's like jungle in between. Elephants, monkeys, snakes, giant lizards. I saw a huge lizard when I was there. I've got trains, planes, dogs. There's a lot of noises around here. So basically Koh Lanta has this like really rural foundation, if you will. And then there's a bunch of different elements to the island that come together to make this like crazy beautiful place. One of those elements is insanely beautiful beaches. And obviously when you have insanely beautiful beaches, of course, a bunch of resorts will pop up. So Koh Lanta has a crap load of hotels and hostels and resorts and little like bungalows and villas, like any kind of thing you can think of hotel wise, they have there, except for maybe like a skyscraper type one. They don't have any of those kind of buildings. We stayed at the Rawi Warren Resort, which was absolutely incredible. So Koh Lanta's got this like really rural side to it, and then it's got all these fancy resorts and like these insane beaches. It has this like wild jungle area to it, and from what I have heard, the locals do not wander into the jungle. So that makes me think there's some scary shit out there. I definitely saw a couple monkeys while I was like mopeding around the island, and it was very exciting for me because we don't have monkeys just running around in America. And the first thing I did, my first instinct was like stop on the moped and stare at the monkey. And the friends that we had who were living there were like, oh, don't do that because the monkey is gonna run right up to you and steal all your shit, sunglasses, wallet, whatever it can get off your bike and off of you, it's gonna take from you. I was like, geez, so the monkeys are like the little thugs of the island. It's really funny. There's some really great local food in Koh Lanta. It's not very expensive to tour it. We stayed in a private villa and it was only like $120 a night, which I know seems expensive, but this was our honeymoon, so we went for the nicer option this time around. If I was gonna go back to Koh Lanta, I'd probably stay at a more budget-friendly place, but the place we did stay at was really amazing. And Koh Lanta definitely has an on-season and an off-season, so we were there in the off-season, which is not great weather-wise. Usually we got really lucky and it was amazing weather, but the benefit of going in the off-season is that there's way fewer people, so it felt really like empty to me. So that was my experience in Lanta, was just this really like local, rural, jungly party kind of vibe. And that's another aspect to Atlanta that I forgot to mention is the party scene. They've got moon parties, they've got jungle parties, beach parties, they got all the kinds of parties you could want. Full disclosure, drugs are very, very underregulated there. I don't know how that works, but like we went to a jungle party. First of all, there was a freaking duck there and it was like really mean. And the bartenders were like, would you like a happy shake? And I was like, what the hell is a happy shake? And then someone told me it has mushrooms in it. So the reason I bring that up is because Atlanta is like this multifaceted place that's actually very small. So there's a lot of variety in Atlanta, and whatever you're looking for, you can find. Unless it's like really luxury shopping and then you do not want to go to Atlanta, but that's not my style. So anyways, Atlanta is probably number 1. Number 2, Amsterdam. And I'm sure many of you know it is in the Netherlands, which is on the west coast of mainland Europe. And it's a city full of beautiful canals. So there's so much water in Amsterdam. I'm a big fan of like beaches and water and just generally being around like water. I love coasts. So maybe that's why I gravitated towards these two places. For me, Amsterdam just felt really progressive, like politically and socially. It felt really like things were happening in Amsterdam, new things. We did spend a lot of time in Amsterdam and I did not rent a bike, which I definitely regret. We were way too scared to bike around Amsterdam, which is funny because I used to bike regularly around Beijing, including like side by side with cars. So now I will not hesitate to rent a bike in Amsterdam. If you rent a bike there and you do a canal tour and all that kind of stuff, it looks like so much fun. The transportation in Amsterdam is really interesting because there's like this big fancy train station when you first get to the city, and then there's cars, and then there's bikes, and then there's pedestrians, and then there's the boats. And obviously the boats aren't competing with anybody other than themselves, but as far as the pedestrian car bike relationship goes, it's very different in Amsterdam. I believe the general rule of thumb is that bikes are number 1. Like bikers go first, and then I think it's cars, and I think pedestrians are last if I'm remembering correctly. I just remember I was told if you're gonna walk around Amsterdam, definitely look both ways constantly because there's gonna be bikes everywhere. That was really exciting because it's like, you like feel like you're gonna, I don't know, I like that kind of feel where you're like on the edge. Amsterdam also has a lot of really cool like historic and cultural activities. So we went to the Van Gogh Museum, is that where we went? Rembrandt? I don't know. We went to this museum of an artist that was one of my friend's favorite artists, and it was really cool. I do remember seeing like the old method of like doing a pressed like printing of like printed art pieces. I think it was Rembrandt. So we were walking around like the old house, and it was actually like the artist's like old house, and it was full of like, the only way I could describe it is like curiosities, like just weird shit. A dresser with a bunch of tiny drawers, and every tiny drawer has like weird stuff in it, like feathers, bones, teeth. But I think my favorite part of Amsterdam was actually getting a little bit outside the city. We actually stayed in a hostel just outside the city called Lucky Lake Hostel, and it was very rural out there and really like laid back. The city of Amsterdam feels bustling, like there's the canals everywhere and the bikes going everywhere, and then we went out to the countryside basically, and things slowed down, and there was a bunch of ducks and chickens and dogs, and I'm doing a terrible job of describing this, but I just loved the like general vibe in Amsterdam, and I loved that you could get a mix of this like rural countryside feel, only like 20-30 minutes outside of the city, and then you can be in the city and have that like urban bustling feel to it. Maybe one of the most fascinating parts of Amsterdam to me is the layout of the city. So in America, a lot of our cities are organized in blocks, so it's like a grid basically. So there's just the streets that go up and down and the streets that go side to side. Everything's at a 90-degree angle. Pretty easy. I got lost within 3 minutes of being in Amsterdam. And it's because the city layout is insane. It's actually a concentric circle. So think about like circles, but it's cut in half. So it's a concentric half circle. I don't know how to describe this. I'm just gonna put a picture on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, Koh Lanta, Thailand, and Amsterdam, Netherlands. I feel so weird saying Netherlands after that. Koh Lanta and Amsterdam are my 2 favorite destinations that I have ever been to up to this point. And that's my official answer to this question as of right now in my life. Ask me next month, it's probably gonna be different. And that's the beauty of travel. Every place is so different and so complex. Stay tuned for tomorrow because I'm going to be doing a pack with me video because I am actually headed out to Tucson, Arizona. I'm gonna be in Arizona for about a week, and I'm gonna be visiting friends and making some awesome videos for you guys. I will be doing travel vlogs the whole time I'm there. And I'm just really excited to like get on a plane and go somewhere that I really haven't explored much and go see old friends. The whole thing is going to be so awesome. My video schedule is staying the same, still Monday to Thursday, so stay tuned this week to watch the rest of the videos, and if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe because the Fearless fam is fucking awesome. One thing I forgot to mention is that the beauty of Travel Talk Tuesday is that we have the Travel Talk Tuesday tribe, which means every week there will be one topic and the entire tribe is going to talk on that topic. So you basically get answers on the same question from a bunch of different people from all different walks of life, and it's really cool. Every week I love watching everybody's videos. So look in the description box below to go watch this week's playlist of videos and check out the other members of the Travel Talk Tuesday tribe. Thank you for watching today, guys. Okay, bye!